Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sandbox game live stream for Saturday, May 1st, 2021. My name is Joseph Division X Matting. Alongside me, through the magic of the internet, the kingpin, the one to win, the artist, Alex Camisaze Flores.
Thank you, Joseph. Good morning to you.
How you doing today, Alex?
It is a beautiful day, so I am going to spend it all inside because that's how I do.
Well, if you're watching live each and every Saturday right here on youtube.com, Twitch TV, Theta, DLive, Facebook, and twitter.com/the Sandbox game, we help you learn new skills so that you can publish your games to the gallery using the Sandbox Game Maker and prepare for the launch of the Metaverse. Watching live with us today, you have a special opportunity. During the stream, feel free to ask us anything from questions about the Game Maker, maybe our asset creation software VoxEdit, questions about the Metaverse, or anything else that you want to know about the Sandbox. Today will be a very special day. I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions. We'll answer these questions live as they come in. And for those questions we can't answer live, feel free to click on the wonderful social channels in the description below this video. Tag me or Alex after the show on Discord, Telegram, Twitter, or any of our other great platforms, and we will get an answer out for you. Of course, if you're watching this later over on youtube.com, you may want to join us each and every Saturday and Monday, starting at 1800 UTC. That's right. Those watching live have a unique opportunity to win a Wizzy the Blue NFT right here on this stream. More details on that will come later, so stick with us. But for now, let's get into the start of this very special Saturday with Science Her Way. How you doing, Erica?
I'm good. How are you two?
Doing very well. It's great to have you on the show. For those watching live, Science Her Way, Erica has previously done a stream on the official The Sandbox channel, and it was a super entertaining VoxEdit asset creation stream. It was a great stream. I love watching you produce the content live as you did. And the content that you produced was for 3D Print Your Life? I forget. It's been
Yes.
a couple of months. So
Yes, it was.
yeah.
Yeah, it's changed a little bit since the last stream. It was a wheelchair for an NPC, and that design's completely different now and finished. But yes.
Very cool.
So tell us about your game. What is 3D Print Your Life, and what are people going to be able to get to experience with that?
Oh well. So 3D Print Your Life is a game where you'll be able to interact with different people and figure out what their orders are and print them and deliver them. So what you can experience right now is you're going to, go to your shop, pick up their orders. Well, tell you to go to the people first and figure out what their order is, then pick up their order and deliver them all around the map. And that's really it right now. I'm hoping to add more features later for gameplay, but yeah.
Cool. So I'm seeing a question in the chat that we can probably answer real quickly. Sombler Studios says, me and my wife started working on our game jam entry and realized we need a lot of custom assets and blocks. Do you guys discourage this? We don't mind sharing our assets to everyone. This is something we are encouraging specifically for this game jam. Joseph, you want to tell them what they can do?
Yeah, absolutely. Smobler, I recognize your name as someone who is already approved, but I'm still going to go through it for those people who are watching that maybe aren't already approved. So if you're making a game for the game jam, similar to how Erica is making a game, but she's doing it officially and not for the game jam. If you're making a game, you have the ability to be listed as an artist and create your own custom assets. The only distinguishing difference is that I have to personally approve the assets to get them into the marketplace. So if you want to make a bunch of custom assets and blocks, I would encourage not only that you do that if you want to, but that you submit them as you create them if you're comfortable doing so. I've set a personal timer for all those artists who are creating it to submit at the very latest a week before the submission, which is on June 17th. And that's only because I expect personally that I'm going to have to go through and approve hundreds of assets on that week. So I want to make sure that everybody's assets get approved. Each one of those assets must be approved and put into the marketplace. And then your other creators in your team can click the little plus icon on that and they'll be able to add it into their account. And that allows them to develop with the assets. So if you have one person who's an artist and another person who's a developer of the game, you guys can work together pretty easily that way. But just keep in mind, as you mentioned, that when you do submit those assets, they are publicly available, so anybody can use them as well. So very much encouraged, though. Submit it all the time, every time. Send me a message when you do, and I'll get to them as soon as I can.
Thank you, Joseph. So back to Erica. What sparked your idea for 3D print your life? What was the inspiration there?
My idea was I wanted to allow people to experience 3D printing who may not have had a chance to experience it in person or have even never heard of it before. And I remember my first time experiencing it, I thought it was kind of magical. I thought this is really cool, and I thought I wouldn't be able to actually play with 3D printers until I was in my mid to late 20s. So when I actually got the chance to play with it early, I was like, I need to be able to let other people experience this as well, who maybe don't have maker spaces in their libraries or can't afford the 3D printer. So I was like, I'll make a game out of it. That way it's, kind of fun. It's a nice, slow, easy introduction into it, since the real thing can be a lot, whether it's getting custom parts or even just figuring out how to make it print properly. So I thought making a game would be a little bit of a easier introduction to that. That's mainly it.
So you say Maker Studio, and that's a type of 3D printer, is that right?
No, so a maker studio is just a place in a library that has printers that people can use. It's like a community space where everyone can just go in, use it for what they need, and then leave.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have laser cutters there too, and other types of machines. So it's just like a nice community space if you don't have one yourself. But not all libraries do that.
I used to live down the street from a place like that. They had 3D printers, lathes. They had a pottery studio. It was a really cool setup. Unfortunately, I never had time to go participate, but it reminded me of being in college and having like all these studio spaces that the art students could just kind of like wander into and start messing with stuff.
Yeah.
as long as the professors let them. So great. When I don't know if you can say this or not. Do you know when people will start being able to play your game?
Even I don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, the video I have an inkling, and that was kind of a public video, but I don't know. I have not been given the official information, so I'm hoping sometime spring or summer, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was involved in the seasonal content, but we can't give an official date on the when the season starts. So
yeah, I can confirm that you are involved in the seasonal content. So
great.
Okay. The roll date on that varies based on just a couple of things. So as soon as we announce the start of it, you're somewhere in the mix, like each different day during the season, and or every other day, I think a new content piece will launch. So it'll be interesting. Maybe you could come back when we launch the game.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
All right, I'm going to answer a question that just came through in the chat. Does approval just mean you making sure it doesn't violate copyright laws? So kind of. You, for the most part, like as long as an asset is functional and looks like 99% like decent, I'm just going to approve it. But if I see something like, for example, I mentioned on Wednesday that there was a Pac-Man ghost asset that was submitted in all the different exact colors of Pac-Man ghosts, I can't approve that. So yeah, I do have to kind of screen it for copyright laws and things like that. And then one other question came through via Twitter. I'm making a game and the player has to grow the ingredients. And when they bloom, I want them to be NFTs attached to the chain already. So currently, you can't issue NFTs upon completion of your game, but that is a feature we want to add in the future. So you can set all the different things in place, but you can't go all the way just yet.
Right. Okay, well, we're going to hop into the Game Maker now. Be sure to check out Science Her Way's website. It's just scienceherway.com. She's got links to her various social media, screenshots of her project, and I'm sure that when things start to go live, you'll be able to find more there, as well as links to her stream and other videos. So let's hop in here. So Erica, you're in the a unique position right now. You get to ask live here if there's anything you want to know about the game maker, and maybe I'll have an answer. I don't know. Depends on how hard your question is. But is there
Like the
is there
hardest questions preferred for sure, right? Like make it real difficult because as somebody who's in the game maker program and you are officially kind of, I guess to say, sponsored by the Sandbox to create this content, I'm sure that you do this every day, right? So the easy questions won't be there, right?
Yes
Oh
and
no.
no.
I'm
I
getting
only
nervous.
because since my game is it's using some of the early features in the game maker and it's a different type of game, I only messed with the features I needed. So I've never touched the combat features because my game isn't about combat. So any of those features I've never even messed with because I had a lot of deadlines and a lot of things to do by myself. So I was just, if it's not needed, I don't touch it. I'm only going to
Sure.
do what I need. So
Sure.
there's probably a lot of features I don't know about in the game maker.
Okay. Well, in the chat, let us know your questions because this is kind of an open Saturday. We don't have a specific tutorial we're doing. So if you have any questions about the game maker, let us know in the chat, and we're gonna start it off with anything Erica wants to know while we wait for the chat to quiz us. So Erica, what would you like to see? Is there any like burning question in your mind?
Let's see, because you're on the latest version. I see that.
I am,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. See, this would be a good opportunity to just ask a question that I want to see from my game, then take whatever your answer is and put it into my game later.
Absolutely. This is your I don't want to say privilege. This is for sharing your time with us today. You get to ask whatever you want. So
I
well,
guess
why?
this is,
Sorry, go ahead.
you actually helped me with this, but I didn't get a chance to implement it because of time time frame. But is it still possible to put a time on the objectives when you're delivering things from point A to point B?
Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
you're looking for a game over if you miss a deadline kind of situation, or just
Yeah.
a timeout?
Well, I guess a timeout since usually in my game there's several different orders you have to complete. So maybe so how about for each order you miss, you get points deducted since there's not like a money system currently.
Right.
Um,
So yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have a point system at the
okay.
moment. What you could have, is on your end screen. If you take a look at your rules, you can show how many quests have been completed.
Mhm.
So if a quest has been accomplished, it'll count off at the end and say that you completed like 5 out of 5 quests, something like that. The
Right.
difficulty is that we don't have a way to end a quest without completing it. So anytime that you say a quest is completed, that counts towards your quest completed in victory. So you would need it to show up as a defeat screen. You did not beat the game because you did not complete all quests, and that would be maybe not as much what you're looking for. But this is a thing that's a work in progress. We're still in the alpha build, so I do know that there's more features being developed for the rule system to have a more comprehensive and more ways of interacting with those rules, where it's not necessarily like you win or you lose and there's no other option in between. I did see a question in the chat about asking about the backup that we talked about. So that's something that we were going to cover last week, and I found out some things about that need to be addressed the developer side of things, so it's not something that I can share at the moment. I did find out something interesting though. So when your game's back up to the cloud, there is actually version history. We just don't have a UE user interface to show that. So at some point there should be a dashboard update that lets us recover previous versions of experiences. Every time you save, that does get uploaded to the cloud, and there is a history of those backups. We just haven't implemented a user front end to access those. So that's actually a really cool thing that I think a lot of people are going to look forward to. What I was going to show you was kind of like a hacky way to do it manually, and that brought up some issues that need to get addressed. So sit tight on those. I do hope we can share that soon, but not yet.
I had an idea, Alex, and for Erica, for your question about if you can set a certain kind of timer. The victory screen, you can always see when you don't complete an objective, but not necessarily defeat you. So if you use the fly function on a calculator, and this is typically how and for the chat, you asked about RNG. If you go back and watch Saturday, I don't know if it was last Saturday or the Saturday before, but if you look at the VOD on that over on YouTube, you can watch Alex create the RNG mechanic with this fly function.
That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Two Saturdays ago.
Fly takes a certain amount of time for an object to do a circle, right? So you take 3 total calculators, and you've got one that's on the top, and then you've got one that's on the bottom, and a fly function. And if
I think you mean
the
bird,
first
right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry, bird. Yes. So if you have the bird function fly over top of a calculator, and then have a proximity trigger, that when it flies over the top of it, it spawns an asset. And then the bottom calculator spawns another one. Have a fourth object that when it doesn't see a calculator or when it's destroyed or whatever, it will, you lose the quest, right? And this may have to be very large in order for it to work, and you would want to bury it like underground so that people would know. But you can get a kind of a timer that way. And maybe you set like 9 of them in a row because you want it to be this long amount of time. And then when the last one gets destroyed, you lose the quest or you fail. But if you succeed, then there would be another proximity object that destroys the thing that might destroy, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty complicated mechanic, but if you did that where it was like when it sees bird calculator or like destroy all bird calculators if you complete this, then there could be a sort of timer that would leave the object that you need to get the you win on the quest still in the world. It would need some developing, but that's just me brainstorming it.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit. So this is actually turning right now. You can see it's very, very slow. So I imagine it would probably take quite a bit of time for this to make a full circle. Yeah, it would take some figuring out to do. I don't think that. I think it would be a very long and possibly boring stream if I tried to figure it out right now live. But yeah, basically what Joseph is suggesting, and I'm sorry for this flickering. It's a little there. Okay. So basically what Joseph is describing is this dragon. And I only used a dragon because it's got power gems, which means it can do a wider turn radius. So the more power gems you have, the wider this bird path can be. And I would say you do want to line them up, probably. Make them both 12 in this case. I'm turning the flickering off just for sensitive eyes, but having them match up like that will mean that it's not going to do a kind of a sine wiggle path through the whole thing. It'll stay fairly straight on its path. And then set the fly speed super, super low. And you might need to actually time this or do some math. It's been a long time since I've had to do any sort of like radial geometric stuff. I did take trigonometry. I did very well, but that was about 10 years ago now that I did that,
Oh,
and I have
wow.
not used it. I have not used trigonometry since then. Just not in my day-to-day work life has that been necessary. Um, but if you were to figure out the amount of time it takes this dragon to go around the path, that could be your timer. You're basically making a giant egg timer, and you could have whatever object is needed to complete the quest be deleted by this timer completing. So let's say you need to the goal is to get the print order to a person before the timer runs out, and you wouldn't necessarily display it as a quest. Well, I guess you could display it as a quest. That could you could show the timer on the screen, but you might need to it wouldn't be directly connected to the quest objective. It would just kind of synchronize with your dragon timer. And when this timer completes, it would have a message set off by proximity using the tutorial we showed 2 weeks ago for the randomizer. But when this dragon lines up with an object that's on its path, it would delete an object that's required to complete the objective. So either it would delete your print, or it would kind of horrifically delete the customer, or possibly you would have a sort of trigger system to complete the quest. Giving the item to a person doesn't directly complete the quest. It would indirectly go through another object to complete the quest, and you could have that sort of offset object be deleted. So I think I've got it figured out now, but it would require some testing. Maybe we can try that next Saturday, after I have some time to think it all the way through. But you would want the timer to be deleted, the dragon egg timer to be deleted if you complete the quest, so that way you can't fail the quest later. There's a bunch of messy steps in here involved, but I think it would be Joseph's suggestion sounds doable to me.
Andy Ritchie in the chat, who does these kinds of streams all the time, actually, like almost every single day, if not every single day at this point, had mentioned that you could also potentially do an instant death message, which doesn't have to necessarily be death if you don't use like a normal like avatar style character. It won't have a death animation because it's hidden. For each point, and have a limit set through the number of deaths.
That's true too. Yeah, you could have so like Joseph said, if you set it to be instant, you have like a -2 on the death animation. That would basically just make your character respawn, so it could bring you back to the store and be like, or to the break room or whatever part of the game you want people to restart at, and it would just be an instant. You flash there, and maybe there could be a message saying that you lost the order, and then on your end screen at the end of the game, it would show number of deaths, because we don't have a way to change that text right now. But basically, that would be like the number of failed orders, and you could have a limit set on that. So after so many deaths, you would get a game over.
So, with that in mind, that you can't change the flavor text on it, and it would say deaths if that's not the way that obviously you want to convey 3D print your life. You don't want to have a number of deaths. You could use something a little more complicated, like the kind of a timer system that you see here, where it's just like, if this object is in the game, then you've completed the quest. The only thing that I would personally, I'm trying to get through my head is, how do you make it not instantly succeed on that quest? But otherwise, once you've got that sorted, then I think it'll be just fine. So
I mean,
Yeah,
the way I have it set up, it's just each order is going to a different objective. So once you complete 5 orders, that completes a main quest. That's how you make sure it doesn't, win the whole game.
yeah, sure, fair enough. And I'm just thinking of it in the opposite way. Is like, well, yeah, I guess if you just complete the order, but because the death or the kind of timer has to run out. My concern with that idea, and if somebody could elaborate on this by testing it more, is that there must be a quest to fail in order for it at the end of the game to say you failed this many orders, and because the asset is in there at the beginning, you may instantly complete that success, or successfully, even though you didn't actually do it. So it would have to be a kind of a two-part system where this thing is destroyed, and then if you succeed, this other one gets destroyed, if that makes sense. Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's
Thank you, Smubbler. Smubbler's right there, Sandy. So at the moment, you can only set up the cameras at the start of the game, whether you want it to be third person, first person, or have sort of like isometric fixed camera view. And we don't have a way at this time to transition between different cameras for different parts of the game, or to manipulate the player's view. So right now, it's just kind of freeform. Let's see. Any other?
So do you have any other questions, Erica?
Not at the moment. I don't think so.
How about the chat? Knowing that Erica is in the Game Makers Fund, knowing that Erica creates these voxel assets all the time, is creating the game, do you have questions for her specifically about that experience, about anything that's going on with the Game Maker Fund sort of related things, all the behind the scenes stuff? It's okay if Erica leaks something that's not supposed to be out there. I don't think she could, frankly, right now, because we're just that close to being in the season of content in the metaverse. So I don't think there's anything that she could throw out there that wouldn't be okay to go out there.
I hope not, but
yeah, Loy, I agree that it would be cool if we could switch the view as a player. We would want that to be something that the developers could toggle, because some people might not want you to be able to switch the view in their game. That is something that's been suggested. So we've got a huge wish list, because we've got, let's see, I think there's over 40 people in the Game Maker Fund right now, or over 40 teams in the Game Maker Fund now. It might even be 50. I don't know the latest number. So we've got all the requests from them. We've got our artists in the Creator Fund can make suggestions too, as they experiment with using their assets in the Game Maker. So we've got requests from them. We've got our official level designers. So everybody's got a wish list. I've got a wish list, I know. I'm sure Erica's got a wish list also.
yeah.
And there's all these features that we would like to see, but they do have to be prioritized. So we see those things getting added kind of incrementally. We won't see them all at once, but oh, hey, everybody say hi to my mom. Be nice.
Hello.
Games asks, what is your official GitHub repo? I'm not sure if you're asking for the sandboxes. There is not the Game Maker at this point is not open source. It is closed source, and that may change in the future when we start talking about way past the roadmap, 5-10 years in the future. How do we want this game to live on for future generations? Then we might start talking about, open source everything, especially since all of the assets will be on the blockchain. People will still be able to trade and buy and create. We want this to, have an everlasting lifespan. But at this point, everything's closed source. There's a lot of security stuff to consider as we start integrating NFTs into the Game Maker, and we want to make sure that people's content is secure and protected. So not open source at this time. I believe there is a GitHub repo for the smart contracts, and if you check out either the white paper or on some of the old Medium articles, it's on the white paper.
Yeah. And you can you can definitely look at that. It has constant updates. I think as well, if you look at it on, pretty sure it's CoinGecko or the Binance Research article. I forget which of those two. You'll be able to see the link that takes you to that repository, the number of updates it has, that kind of thing. Because there's like a little graph on there. And it may be on CoinMarketCap. I forget. I look at a lot of these things all the time. So I'm going to read this question in the chat for you, Erica. And I'm sure you've already read it, but I just like to read it live. Hi, Erica. How's your experience been getting games done for the game maker on time with the deadline? And do you have support from other game makers when you encounter a new mechanic that you want to implement, but you can't figure out exactly how to do it?
All right. So, in terms of getting it done for the deadline, there were definitely, I would say, two or more times I couldn't complete certain things for the game on deadline just because it was probably I was biting off more than I could chew since I had to make a lot of assets. And then, like for the NPCs, for example, I have 33 NPCs, and those assets have to be reviewed. Well, because I make the NPCs the same way, design wise, if one NPC had a problem, it means most likely all 33 had that problem. So I was juggling, and that happened twice, all 33 twice. So
Sure.
uh, there were times when I was trying to make assets and fix them, and then also fix things with the game itself. So I'm not sure how it would be with a team since I'm only one person. Um, but then it was also I was overestimating how long something would take me. So I would say, oh yeah, I can get it done by that time because it's easy. But just because it's easy doesn't mean it's not tedious, which is something
Sure.
I did not take into account. So there were times I was like, yeah, I can make it, and I could not. So it's definitely been a learning process of how do you balance, what your current skill level is and what you think you can complete it at, and then just how many things you have in total to make. And then just for new mechanics and getting help from other game makers, I don't talk as much as I should in our Slack channel, but I know that anytime someone has a problem with a feature or there's a possible bug, they'll go to the Slack channel, and there's always, whether it's Alex or someone from the team, or even just other game makers will come and say, yeah, I'm having this problem too, and we'll all experience it at the same time, depending on what it is, or someone else will have a solution for it, so that's really cool. So it's been kind of to see that we're all willing to help each other.
It's always exciting when a new update comes out and everybody kind of scrambles to figure out
Yeah.
what's new. Is this expected?
Yeah.
Not everybody saw the change logs, so they might, be surprised by something. It's always an adventure, but we love it. And yeah, it's I think it's great that we have that channel for people in the Game Maker Fund to kind of collectively ask like usually really important questions, because we do have a Discord that's open up to everybody, but oftentimes there's a lot of beginners in there, which is normal. But everybody in the Slack channel has been using the Game Maker, many of them for a whole year now, and so the questions that we get there are usually like really deep cutting, like how do you do this, or what's up with this, this doesn't work the way it used to, and I never knew it worked that way. So it's always fun brain teasers there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Alright.
Games is asking about the VoxEdit repository to learn about the VXM file format. So I'm not sure about that. I would suggest messaging me on Twitter. I'm gonna put my handle in the chat again, and you can send me the link to that repo, and I can try to find out who it belonged to and what it is. Yeah, as far as I know, VoxEdit's not in public beta at this time, but I might be able to put you in contact with some people who can help out with that. I do know that so we do use the VXM format, which is native to VoxEdit, but pretty soon we will be seeing a Vox export. I don't know exactly when that update's rolling out, but we have somebody working on VoxEdit now who's made a Vox exporter for another program before. And that is on the list of things to be added.
So a question came over from YouTube for you, Erica, that says, can you share your experience in applying for the Game Makers Fund?
Oh, okay. So See, actually, I have questions to answer from someone on the team. I was actually going to ask them about this because I wasn't sure if it was going to be too confidential about this. But if it is, I'm sorry. But
I
um,
think you're safe.
Yeah, it's all good. It's pretty much free and open because the only thing that's more restricted would be like video footage of what your game is at this point.
hmm, okay. So in terms of applying for the Game Maker Fund, let's see, I applied back in 2019. It's in August or September. And actually, back then, the Game Maker Fund was not even out. I originally applied for the Creator Fund, and I got contacted by someone on the team. And they said, we really like your portfolio, especially these two assets. Would you like to create a diorama? And we have a call about it. I was thinking, I'm not sure what diorama is. Is this just kind of like an asset pack? And so just, individual assets, I'll be creating an asset pack maybe. So we got on the call and they basically said, yeah, we want you to create a game. And I was like, oh, that's very different. I wasn't expecting that because I originally applied for the Creator Fund as a way to get into game dev, partially on the art side, as a way to make assets for games instead of making my own game. So when I was offered the opportunity, I was like, well, sure, because they said, it's not out yet, but we think you could make a really cool game. We like how you incorporate science and education. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? I didn't expect to get into game dev for a while, but I was like, I might as well since they're offering.
It's like a nice
So
surprise.
it was because, like I said, it wasn't even out publicly that there was even a Game Maker Fund, so I only knew of the Creator Fund.
Right.
Sure, and I think that's a good testament to the idea that it's always worth applying, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're a creator and you're thinking, "Hey, I have this idea," but it's maybe you think it's not enough, or it's not developed, or it's not good enough, or what have you. It's worth applying. Put your best foot forward, and put some content out there, and see if you get accepted. Because we're always looking to expand that program. It does take, the funding for that expands regularly, is kind of what I mean to say. So get out there, give it a shot, and then if it's not approved, then you can always turn it into a game for the game jam that we have. Those are going on right now. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's very cool.
definitely, because I had spent several days on my portfolio because I was like, I don't really have a portfolio. I don't know what I should be doing, but I revamped a piece and made sure everything was working. And I was surprised to even be accepted, period, just because you have guidelines on your website. I think they're still there
Yeah,
about what you should do for your assets. So there should be some shading, some texture. And I didn't know how to do that, and I still applied, and I still don't know how to do that properly. I know about hue shifting and put the light in certain places, but I don't know when should you add shading, where should it go, kind of thing. So none of my assets have shading, even now for the Game Maker, the Game Fund, they don't. And I was surprised to be accepted because it was in the guidelines. I was like, hey, we want you to be able to do this. So you just never know.
So yeah, something that's important to point out is that the Creator Fund and the Game Maker Fund have two different sets of standards, if you will. I mean, our goal is that we have quality work all around, and that it factors into how applications are reviewed. But in the Game Maker Fund, we don't stress the sort of sandbox branding of asset style as much as we do for the Creator Fund. So the goal of the Creator Fund is to create assets, to create a cohesive library of assets that anybody can jump into the sandbox and start creating with just things that they got from the library, or from the marketplace. So we wanted to have a huge, and I think we're over 4,000 assets now, something like that. We wanted to have this huge database of assets in the marketplace for people to start building with as soon as everything launches, and we're almost there as far as launching. Today another artist dropped some assets for sale. We forgot to mention that, but check out the marketplace every Wednesday and Saturday, and we've got new NFTs dropping from our artists in the Creator Fund. So that's the goal of the Creator Fund, to create all those assets, and we have pretty rigorous reviews for both style and technical requirements of the assets, that they have good collision, that all the animations work correctly, things like that. The Game Maker Fund, we encourage those things, but our goal with the Game Maker Fund is just to make fun, engaging experiences, to have people make games that make people want to play in the metaverse. So if we have some games that have a different style or different scale than the kind of the default in the sandbox, that's okay. And we try to work with everybody in the Game Maker Fund to hone their kind of unique styles. So Erica's NPCs have a slightly different kind of look to them, and that's totally fine. We want people to be able to express their artwork. Hack the Tau is another one of our Game Maker Fund, and they're already a fairly well-known artist, and they've got a very different style for their content too. And so we try to encourage that, have this be a way for artists to express themselves through a game without forcing them to conform to exactly what our stuff looks like. So I did see some questions in the chat. So I was using some shortcuts that people might not be familiar with when using blocks, and I saw one of the questions was answered. So to replace blocks that are already placed, like the ground, if you hold Control and you left click, it'll do replacement. But you got to keep in mind that it's not like a paint over, it's a replace. So if I do it here and I drag up to here, it fills in, it replaces the air also. So it's not like you can simply paint a hill, but you can replace a whole area of blocks that way. Another one that I know somebody on staff asked me a few weeks ago, and I didn't know how to do it when they asked me, and I don't remember who asked me. So if that person is watching, this one's for you. They asked if there was a way to build vertically, and I said, well, you kind of do it the Minecraft way, where you point the camera down and you just keep clicking to build a tower. It's actually it's mentioned here in the control list, and I didn't understand it. It's right here, Y-axis blocks placing. I saw that and I was like, what does that mean? And I didn't understand what this mouse control meant. Maybe we need a better way to explain this. But if you click and drag, let me do it out here. If you click and drag, and while you're holding it, so I'm holding my mouse button down, you press Shift, it will start going vertically. So you can do it with one block. You click and then press Shift and then drag.
Nice.
Or you can drag an area, Shift, and build up. And that can be I know, I didn't know that either.
I needed that.
I figured that out this week because somebody had asked about something else. There was an email that was asking about how to do something. I was like, oh, that's on the control list. And so I looked at the control list, and then I was just looking at what was on it, and I saw Y-axis blocks placing. I'm like, what is that? And it took a few tries because I kept on pressing Shift and then dragging, and that doesn't do anything different. It's just when you shift and press it, it doesn't change at all. But you click first and then shift, and then you can build vertically. And that I imagine is not animate, is like game changer. Yeah. Wish I had known about that a few weeks ago. I'm sorry. It was in the control list. I don't know how long I don't know if this is from the last update or if it was in a previous update. I have no idea when this got added. I just happened to notice it this past week, and I was like, my whole life is a lie.
Now,
I did that months ago. Oh my
I know,
gosh.
right?
Alex, Erica noticed a comment that has since long gone over on YouTube. So I know she wanted to address that. So what was that question there?
So this was from JJK. They said, I see she's working with Magic Voxel. Do you create everything with that program or also with VoxEdit? So all of my assets are created in Magic Voxel, but any that have to be animated are in VoxEdit. The reason I don't create anything in VoxEdit is one, just because I'm used to Magic Voxel since I've been using it for a few years before VoxEdit came out. But then also for the fact of that, I guess two things. I have a palette for all of my assets, and I want to be able to make sure everything looks correct in a scene. And there have been times when I have to change a palette, so instead of having to go to each individual asset, I rather it be in one file. And then as well, I like being able to see everything in one place, and I have different versions of everything. So the NPCs you see now, that's probably version 6 or something. I don't know, I've lost count at this point, but I have all the different versions in one file. And I like being able to do that and split off new versions, or even just making copies and changing the copy and then deciding, I don't like that, and going back to the original. Because there's not always times when you can undo everything, because that has a limit in any program. So I like having copies of everything. I can see them all side by side. So that's why I use Magic Voxel sometimes over VoxEdit. But anything that was animated, the NPCs with mobility aids, those had to be created in VoxEdit, the animations. And anything had to be rigged. Like there's a special asset, I don't want to say, but it's really big. And because of what it is, it had to be rigged, and that had to be in VoxEdit. So yeah.
Andy Ritchie is chiding me in the chat for missing out on his streams today. My mic seems a lot louder.
No,
I don't know if I
mean,
changed
it
something.
seems fine. It
There we
just, you got closer or something.
No, I think I bumped something. It like increased the gain. I was like, all of a sudden my head is being filled with my voice. I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, Andy Ritchie's like too busy doing bat backpacks and crazy rocket assets. I did not do the rocket asset. I cannot claim credit for that. I asked one of our staff to make that. So I was like director, but not the creator. Unfortunately, the name escapes me at the moment. I don't remember which one. I feel real bad, but I'll tweet about it later, about which artist made it.
So I got a real quick, Alex.
Sure.
The time, my local time, is 11:51 a.m.
It's flying.
That means that we are flying. Erica, you've had a very entertaining day, and I appreciate that. So I've put a link in the chat during this very entertaining day. This link can win you a Wizzy the Blue NFT if you are watching this stream live. So if you're interested in doing so, please click on that link. This Wizzy the Blue NFT was created on a stream just like this by Alex, who you see on the screen. These are limited to these live streams exclusively, and you can only ever win one. Limited to 200 copies. This legendary asset can be used in your game for anyone who's creating in the game jam or otherwise when you want to create your game for the metaverse. So apply now while you can, fill out the form, and then before the end of the show, I will be picking a winner.
Wow, time really just flew by, huh?
Yeah.
It really does. Yes. Any one of these streams, like, it's funny because Alex and I will often like kind of hang up the call and we'll have a bit of a post show just chat. And there are many streams where it's like, is that all we did? Because the hour just like whoosh, gone, right?
Right.
It's great. Let's see. Does VoxEdit have an option for semi-transparent voxels?
Not at this time.
Yeah. Some of the assets that are designed by the team specifically are semi-transparent, like the glass asset. But yeah. All right. Did you? So I don't know if you guys follow Alex, but you probably should, because look at this. Look at this ape wearing the backpack, which is undersized, wearing the helmet now. So Alex was working on this, and you discovered how to make these larger characters be able to wear these. Is that right?
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, because this is something that anybody can do now. This isn't retroactive. It's not going to make your giants or your gorillas be able to wear things that you've already made, although you could recreate them if you wanted. It will be a little bit difficult, and we should probably dedicate a whole stream to how to implement these fixes for your existing assets. I do want to do a tutorial on it, so maybe I'll just do that. But if you're following me on Twitter, you'll see that yesterday I released a big patch for the VoxEdit templates. I think the only ones that didn't change were like the equipment, the avatar, and the like door and switch and button templates. So basically the small, large, giant humans, the primates, all the birds, all the fish, all the everything got an update to their templates. Most of them are what we call a V2 template, which means that we've did a rotation fix on them, so that way all your thumbnails now face the correct way. But importantly for what we're talking about right now is that I updated the names of all the nodes for our biped mammals, meaning small human, large human, giant human, and primate. And they all match the node names for the avatar now, which is all the game maker requires and able to use equipment. So that means that if you look at the avatar rig, you can see all the node names that you need to create your own equipment wearing NPCs or characters, because you can only equip on your player character. So the key thing, it's not the order of the nodes or the animations or anything like that. It's just the names of the nodes. That's what the game maker looks for. It checks to make sure that all those nodes are present. So you need your left arm, your left forearm. I'm doing it backwards. That says right. Your left arm, your left forearm, your left hand, your hips, your chest, your head. It needs all of those node names. And that's when you hit play with that character selected, and they will spawn by default with a sword in their hand. And that's how you know that it worked. Obviously, the sword doesn't really work for the gorilla, so we can unequip that. But now, this is just the default gorilla template that's available in VoxEdit right now. And now it can equip things. Now, the equipment is a little bit tight. And it would be even worse if it was a giant human. I tried putting the artifact shoes on a giant, and they were like hidden inside the foot because the foot is so big. So the gorilla might be able to wear them actually. So that's what you can do now. Now in order to make equipment that will fit your character, what you're going to want to do is take the VXM models from that character. You go to like your large human, you grab if you want to make shoes, you grab the feet, and you just drag and drop those into your template project folder, or your equipment template project folder, and you need to make sure that the names match. So I'm not positive that the names will match, and this will be part of the tutorial about making sure the names match, because once you're in the equipment, you won't be able to switch out the feet because they're kind of like ghosted. But yeah, this will all be a tutorial, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully I can get that done in the next week or two, and you should be able to make equipment that you can use custom for your game. Now this won't be Metaverse compatible because the Metaverse games specifically use the player avatar, which comes from the dashboard. It's these guys and nothing but these guys. And pretty much everything that we're doing is designed to be compatible with these. But if you are creating a game, and you can see it mounts backwards because right now the avatar rig is not updated to that V2 version where I said we rotated them to face the correct way. So right now it's a little messed up, but if you go to the dashboard, you can find a stealth mode Alex, which is a character I made using the V2 rig, and it will mount correctly on this character. And any new avatars you make will look like this. Will look the correct way. I broke my train of thought with that.
I've got two questions.
Yes. Yeah.
The first one, before I announce the winner, I'm going to ask Erica, do you have any special project, anything that you've created, any social media tags that you want to shout out here on the stream and have folks go follow you or follow your project or follow somebody else that you like?
Oh goodness. I mean, I'll be honest, the only project I've been working on has been 3D Printer Life for the past year and a half. So it's taken up all my time. So, I mean, honestly, the best thing you can do is follow me on Twitter if you want to see anything else I work on in the future. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. And so that's at Science Her Way. Is that right?
Yes.
Cool. Very good. And you actually answered the second question. You just wrapped it all right up in there. Touche asked over on Twitch, how long have you spent creating your 3D print your life game? And you said, what, a year
Yeah.
and a half, right?
Yeah, since I think I officially started in October of 2019, so it'll be 2 years this year in October
Very
of
good.
the game.
I mean,
So
it'll be out before then, but maybe
I
you'll
hope
issue some
so.
updates, or it'll definitely be out before then. I can
Yeah.
assure you. But maybe there's some updates or something that you do once you're done and kind of just enjoying the fans, right?
Yeah, definitely.
There was one good question I saw in the chat earlier. It was a while ago, and I don't remember who asked it. Oh, you can kind of see the shoes. There you go. This sort of works.
Oh, there you go.
They're a little
See
bit
the top
snug.
of the sneaker a little
They're
bit.
a little bit snug. So the question was, will the seasonal content be just social hubs, or will there be games? And there will definitely be games alongside the social hubs. So I'm not sure if it's part of preseason 0. I believe it is. Erica's game, 3D Print Your Life, will be one of the games that you can play. Okay, Joseph confirmed it is part of preseason 0. So if you get access to that preseasonal content, then you will definitely be able to play Erica's game. And this is all going to be on the Metaverse map. So the whole thing that we've been setting up with the map and the land sales, there's going to be a big central hub that you start on. If you just launch the game client, you start in the first hub. You can also directly jump into experiences from the map. But if you start in that central social hub, it branches out, and there's a whole map of stuff, both social hubs and games to play. I believe at this point it's all single player games for the ones that have quests and objectives and things like that, because multiplayer combat and that sort of stuff is still in the works, which will be coming in future seasons. So stay tuned and have fun. Joseph, did we announce a winner yet?
We announced it in text, but not out loud. So over on twitch.tv, Maridan, I selected from over or at 160 entries. I see. So over on our Restream client, which is what we use to be able to chat with all of the different services all at the same time and see all your messages, I can roughly see how many people are watching. So when we reach that number, I let it go a bit over, and then I'll usually stop the potential to entry, because I don't want to have people maybe duplicating entries or things like that. I'm going to keep it fair for those people watching live. So right now it says we got about 90 people watching and we had 160 entries. So I cut that off. At that point, Meridan over on Twitch, congratulations, you have won. So I've got the Ethereum wallet already, and that will be sent to you shortly. Alex, we do have a kind of, just for those people who watch often, we have a bit of a list right now. Typically, I like to give Alex a notice when the cost of gas is a little bit down, so that it helps Alex out, because they come directly from Alex's wallet to the public. So we will we'll get those out here as soon as we can.
All right. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up, because we are at the hour, and I think we did a good job answering most of the questions. If we missed anything, you're always welcome to ask us on Twitter. You can DM me or Joseph. I'm at Kamisazi. He's at the Vision X. EX, I should specify. And we are always happy to answer your questions. You can also ask on Discord and the other platforms that you can find us on. So if we missed your question, I'm sorry. We try to keep up, but there's 90 of you talking in the chat, and it's a lot of fun. it's a lot of fun. But Cosmogrog, no, the gorilla does not have a climbing animation. So the gorilla being usable as a character is or having these features is new. So we need to add more animations to that character, which will be happening soon.
And then one more thing, just again, Erica, it's a really great time always chatting with you. And if you are watching, make sure you click the link that we put in the chat. Follow Erica. Keep up with the game that she's producing. All the content that comes out after this game is produced. And then if you have questions for Erica specifically, I don't know, I don't mean to impose, but you might throw it out there and see if she's got time to answer it. I know that she's real busy creating this game and living life, right? So
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's the best place to reach me. So
cool. Yeah, make sure you do follow that and hang out.
yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It was great.
All right. Well, quick answer here for Loy. So Sweet Girl Sakura, I just tried. Equipment does sort of work. Swords definitely work. I'm not sure with the update if the equipment will flip around the right way, but you could make custom equipment for Sakura that would work. So if you wanted to make like a backpack and stuff as part of like a set that's specifically designed for her, it's totally doable. She is equipment compatible, even if the pieces right now flip around the wrong way. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there before anybody asks any good questions that I can't get away from. So thank you, Erica. Thank you, Joseph. I hope you all have a beautiful Saturday. Maybe don't be like me. Spend some of it outside in the sun. And we will see you. Well, Joseph will see you probably sooner than me, but I will see you all on Wednesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Monday, 1800 and Wednesday at 2100 UTC. See you later, guys.
See ya. Thank you.